Hello, folks. Thrash Pondo here, and I'm welcoming you to my part two of my extravaganza for the month of October, or as I refer to it, Hallo-month. And we'll be discussing all things Halloweeny, particularly film, TV, and anything in the entertainment industry. And I'm just going to sort of ramble here for the first few seconds, as I always do, while I wait for some of my armies of followers to show up into the chat. And I'm just going to try to fix my head here. I'm getting a little shut over the eye, and I have such beautiful eyes. But anyway, oh, look who is here first. Dan, the breaking news man, says, "Hey, stranger. I know we just spoke earlier on Steve, the Life Inside Endings channel. Oh, how are my sound checks, by the way? Let me know." Gary Carpenter's here. He says, "Ghoulish greetings, everyone," with a bunch of Halloween themed emojis and a happy Halloween to you as well. Zuplix is here. He says, "Good evening to all." I loved that German sci-fi kid show you sent me, by the way. That dance was priceless. I thought the dance they were doing in Green Slime was funny. I don't know where you find this stuff, Zoop, but thank you. Dan says good. I assume it means the volume. And Gary Cameron says Thrasher Suzanne Summers has just passed away at 76. Funny you should mention that, Gary. Thank you for the the in-flight movie, Night Flight. Thank you very much for the information. I was actually just on the Life Inside Ending with Dan, the Breaking News Man, and Denny Staten. We were discussing that at some length. In fact, in memory of her, I actually had a different trivia game for tonight. I've actually done it on Susan Summers, as Danny has requested. Apparently, he said somewhere in the chat that she was his first crush. And I will honor this by giving him a trivia game based on her. Emma Miller says, "Hey, y'all." Beaky Leo says, "Hey, buddy. Thanks for checking in earlier. I try to as often as possible. Every now and then I miss a show, and I'm terribly sorry. But great show, by the way. And I must confess, blue cheese dressing is an acquired taste, but I have certainly acquired a taste for it. Oh, and it goes great on cheesy Italian garlic cheesy bread, my restaurant's specialty. But thanks for dropping in today, Barry. And so sad about Suzanne Summers. Music, movies, and more with Brian says, "Hey there, Thresh. Hope you're doing well." Brian, I'm doing great. I saw a number of your posts today. To be honest, I was doing, I had all kinds of plans for this afternoon. I was going to put out a couple more content posts. I was going to check out a few of my subscription posts from you and some other folks. And then I got the bombshell that Miss Summers had passed on. And I'm like, I had to revamp my entire show. So, but anyway, guys, check out uh, music, movies, and more with Brian. He's been putting out some great uh, birthday wishes for famous celebrities, stories about their passing, or both what they call the, oh, what do they call that? The not belated birthday, when heavenly, happy heavenly birthday, if we've already lost the celebrity. Zuplik says Suzanne Summers, Phyllis Coates, Mock Goddard, and Piper Laurie. I know there were less casualties in a slasher movie, huh? And oh, music. I'm just gonna say Brian. Brian says just did a video for her too. Excellent. Oh, Lance Chafin is here. Lance Chafin says, "Guys, have a migraine. Have a good stream." Yeah, Lance has been feeling poorly lately. Lance, just the fact that you could pop in and say hi, and I'm sure hit the like button, means the world to us. Hint, hint for everyone else. But if you're having a migraine, please lay down, get some rest, and I hope you feel better. But thanks so much for stopping in, man. MMO Superplex, it was a bad weekend for Hollywood. It certainly was. It certainly was. Gary Carpenter says, Z, them too. My God. Yeah, I know. It's just been a shame how many we lost this past weekend. A lot of people telling Lance they hope he feels better. That's very kind of you. Oh, Gary Cameron says, "I thought you were the headache." Naughty, naughty, no biscotti. Danny's here says, "Greetings from South Carolina." Dan, I'm so glad you could make it, by the way. And of course, Steve in 11th editing. And he says, "Hey, Thrash. Steve, I'm so glad you could make it tonight, by the way. You said you were going to try to, and I'm glad you were successful. Always great to have you here on my show." Trill Eugene Bellinger is here, says, "We've lost wonderful legends these past few years. Mark Goddard, Piper Laurie, Phyllis Coates, and now Suzanne Summers. May they all rest in peace. I know it was a terrible weekend for celebrities. Rest in peace to all of you. And he then corrects past few days. Yes, those were all lost in the last 3 days. Although you are right, the past couple of years has been very heavy casualties for celebrities. Oh, and Denny's gonna start dropping us links. Thank you. And Gary Carver says, "Howdy there, neighbor," and howdy to you as well. Zublik says, "Hello, life. You should be very busy." I know, right? Emily Miller says, "They really didn't seem old to me." They never do. We never picture them as old. I was actually astonished how old Mark Goddard was when I saw his last photo. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Mr. Lynn says, "Hey, Thrash, have plans tonight, so just saying hi, catch you on replay. Hello to all." Mr. Lynn, the fact that you stopped by always means the world to me. And I'm glad you checked out my earlier content posts. So good to see you. Enjoy your plans, and we'll see you very, 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 very soon. Danny says, "Suzanne's death has bummed me out my Sunday." I can certainly imagine. I'm so, so sorry. And in honor of your wishes, tonight's trivia game will be on her. Brian says, "Hope you feel better soon, Lance." Oh, Lance says, sorry, not funny to Gary Carpenter. Daryl Johnson is here. He says, "Bob, other brother Daryl, how are you doing?" I think I jumped a little bit, so I'm just going to backtrack just a little bit. And I'm gonna have to backtrack a big bit. Oh, here we are. Emily says, "A bit of buffering here didn't last long. Anyone else experience buffering? Please let me know." Gary Carpenter says, "Phyllis Coates was the last cast of Superman. She certainly was." Cindy D is here. Says, "Hello, everyone." Cindy, have you had a chance to check out my forgotten '80s song lyrics? I know you were suggesting that you would like to see that. I have it up, both the questions and finally the answers. Friday the 13th got in my way, so I had to do one day and one the next. I had intended to do them both on Friday, but that was not in the cards. And I'm a cad. Zublik says, "But June Lockhart is still with us." Yes, Marta Christensen, Bill Mooney, and Miss Cartwright are all still with us as well. David is here. Says, "Good evening to all." David, I am so glad to see you. I hope you are doing well. A lot of people saying hello to David. Teb says, "Zublix, so are Bill Mooney, Angela Cartwright, and Marta Christensen." Indy Spotes is here. He says, "Hola, Roberto. Que pasa, amigo? Como se llama?" I don't. My Spanish failed me for a second, but so good to see you. And let's see. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Zubik says, "But June is over 90." I believe she's well over 90, actually, now that you mention it. David says, "Hey, guys and dolls. We're just a bunch of guys and dolls." Dan says, "Did you know that when Jack falls off his bike in the opening title screen, it was Suzanne Summers in a wig riding on a bike?" I did actually know that, by the way. It was when I was looking up information for that they did mention that. Lisa Fields is here, says, "Hi, Thrash and everybody. And hello to you. So glad you could make it, Miss Fields. It's always so great to see you again." David says, "Suzanne was greatest Cindy on Three's Company." A lot of people really liked her. I must confess, I did have a massive crush on Jenny Lee Harrison. Uh, and I believe you mean, David, I believe you mean Chrissy, because Cindy was Jenny Lee Harrison. But a lot of people pick Suzanne Summers most, and I can't blame them. Some people are very purist with the original. Although even in the Avengers, most people think Miss Peel, but again, she wasn't even the original uh, co-hero. Cindy D says, "Yes, Thrash, I just watched it. Great questions. I got 9 out of it. Also liked its mistake by Men at Work." That's a great one too. That would make a great creepy classic. Andy Spout says, "Hey, Gary, I'm still interpreting your pictures. I imagine this is what discovering the Rosetta Stone must have felt like." Boom! Oh, I love the drop. Very good, very good. Tracy's here. Oh, and she says, "Good evening, everyone." Hey, Tracy, how we doing today? And Miller says, "I took 6 months of French. I got nothing." You mean you got zero. Now, remember, in tennis, love means nothing. And I don't know why I said that. But anyway, I just. Oh, look who's here! Anubis, Anubis, DJ Anubis is here. He says, "Just got home from work. Guess you just went live. Sup, Thrasher." Dan, please drop a link to Mr. DJ Anubis. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him through Preston Downey Jr., that fat samurai guy, amongst others. He and his wife DJ Neko have some great stuff here on YouTube. The Metal Tavern. He does some great work with horror films. Oh, and apropos of nothing, I've been invited to be on his show and be interviewed on November 3rd, where I'm assuming we'll be talking about horror movies and whatnot. Don't give me too much. I'm actually much better in interviews when I'm not rehearsed. I just throw me wild questions and I'll give you wild answers. Although, if you want to do a little scripting, that's great. But Anubis, so awesome to see you. Welcome to the party. Only 257 is here says, can't stay too long, guys. Yeah, you have movie plans tonight, don't you? You're gonna see Not Living Dead, I thought it was. Who could blame me? The perfect month to see it. I have like 5 copies on DVD. So whenever I want to see it, I just pop it in the DVD. But anyway, go check out your movie. Please hit like before you go. But thank you for stopping by, Only 257. So great to see you. And Emily Miller, Tracy says Emily Miller try for years. On the Ka. Montgomery, Abiette, Quebec. Mi petit, parle en français, ami. Betty. Um, if any of that made any sense to you, please, someone let me know. A lot of people saying hello to one another, and I just jumped, and Ted gave us something really cool. I'm sure I'm going to go back. And wow, how am I already this far behind? You guys are very interactive. Thank you. Here it is. Ted, when Susan Summers asked for more money during her Three's Company contract negotiations, the producers refused, so the other character of Chrissy Snow was written out. And I don't want. Well, I'm not taking sides in this. I don't have a dog in this fight. She wanted to go from 30,000 to like 150,000. It was a huge increase. Something tells me, I don't know all the details. Something I think John Ritter was already making close to that. And in fairness, she was a bigger draw than he was. Love Jack Tripper, but let's face facts: a lot of people watching the show for Chrissy. So I don't think it was unreasonable, but it was a super price hike, and they just went pass. Very sad, very sad. And yes, 257. Yes, she did die today. It's very sad. Death is a part of life. Soon or later, we all die. That is life. Indeed, it certainly is. Gary Cabrera says, "Oui, monsieur." David says, "That the nurse." Oh, and Steve says, "Using my thigh master now." Excellent. And I'm just going to skip down, and I'm going to try to get through. Oh, from the comment is here. Oh my gosh. Evening Thrash and everyone from the comments. So great to see you. You know what I should do though? I'm gonna great to you here. From did I say from the comment? Form is content. Where the heck did I get from the comment? Maybe I'm thinking Night of the Comet, but that's a holiday film, not a Halloween film. By the way, Form is content. It's so great to see you. And Joe John says June Lockhart is 98. Yeah, I thought she was close to 100. But as people want to talk about Miss Summers, I'm going to race with these comments and we're going to do the quiz because I'm afraid some of you might give the game away. Oh, by the way, as some of you have already done, let's not make this just about Suzanne Summers, although say as much about her as you want. But again, we lost a lot of very talented people this weekend. So please feel free to kick in with whatever else you got. Who the nurse actress on Three's Company? That was the last one. And I can't think of her name to save my life. But yes, I do remember the last young lady roommate was a nurse. Keithy is here. Says, "Chalk me up with the people who never got the message you came on." Keith, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I did post. I did post a I'm on tonight. But to be honest, all we've been doing is we've been talking about the loss of Miss Summers and some of the other casualties. So you haven't missed much. A lot of fellowship, but you're never late. Priscilla, you said Priscilla Barnes. Yes, yes, Priscilla Barnes here. Oh, and Lance is still here. He's just listening. Hopefully, he's turned the volume down so I won't make his migraine any worse. And I'm sure the lights are off. But Keith, thank you for endeavoring to persevere. Trey says Joyce DeWitt is the only one still alive from the original three. Yes, yes. Oh, and Steve, I know you're still on. There is one remaining cast member from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And Steve, please tell the young lady who it is. Because I was so impressed you got it last time. Sydney says, "How? Hey, Lance, hope you feel better." 257 says, "Emily, I'm watching Night of the Living Dead." Ah, Bob for the win. The 1968 version. Music Girl 67 is here. She says, "Hello there, Thresh, and everyone. Guess who's here? It's me. Yay. So good to see Music Girl. You've been promising me you'd be coming by again. I know with your work schedule it's tough, but I'm so glad you made it. Hope you are having a beautiful and bright Sunday. It's even more beautiful and bright now that you're here." Anubis says, "Can't go without interviewing the man, the myth, the legend that is Pawns." No, you're the man, myth, and the legend. And of course, if DJ Necco's there as well, I can't. It's the power couple. The power couple. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Fat Blood. It's like another YouTube power couple. Love it, love it. Life says, "Did Mr. Roper ever find out Jack wasn't gay?" I don't think he ever really deep down thought it. I don't think he did. I think it was his justification to let him stay. Kind of a denial situation. Oh, Brogu was here, says, "Hello, everyone. Brogu was here." And a lot of people saying hi to Brogu. Steve says, "Griffin O'Neill was in my chat earlier. Ryan O'Neill's son." Oh, you're shitting me. And I missed it. Oh my God, that is cool squared. Oh, I'm so sorry I missed it. Tracy says, "I was actually talking about the holiday, the day of the." Oh, no kidding. Holiday movie, both excellent. Liz says, "I haven't let them dead in color." Ken Wilkinson is here, says, "Hi, Bob." The 257 says the black and white is better. You can just turn your color down. Music Girl says, "Hi there, Super. Hoping you've been having a wonderful weekend in Puerto Rico, my friend." I'm just going to skip down. Okay, a lot of people saying hello to one another. So I think I've more or less caught up. So, and Gary, it's like the ending of Night of the Comet. Who's left from the Mad, Mad, Mad? Yeah, I know, no kid. He asked who's left from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I can't remember his name, even though Steve just said it. I would know it like a shot if I heard it. But Dick Sean's lady friend, the one who's hanging out with him in his bachelor pad, she's in a bikini and is kind of doing the beat dancing to the music. She's the only one still alive. Oh, Steve for the win again. Barry Chase. I knew it was Barry, but I couldn't think of her last name. Barry Chase. It's a great name too, by the way. But anyway, in honor of Danny Staten and his first crush, I am doing a top 10 trivia game tonight on the exploits of Suzanne Summers. And as always, I'm going to give them to you in no particular order. Oh, Music Girl 67 says, "I thought Dave's might done a live today with the passing of Suzanne Summers, but I guess he must be busy." I heard somewhere he's traveling somewhere. I don't know into what course, but he was booked solid for today. I'm sure he'll do something soon. I'm sure he's very disappointed that he couldn't do something live from Miss Summers. But I'm so glad you mentioned it. In Dave Sundstrom's honor, I am dedicating this Suzanne Summers live chat. In fact, Dan, do the honors. Please give a link to the good stuff. Not that I sincerely doubt a single person here isn't familiar with Dave Sundstrom's channel. And Keithy says, "Hello, 67. It's always good to see you. I think I need to use you for phone a friend on Thrash's new post." Oh, yes. The music one. Excellent. Oh, but anyway, I'm going to start with number 10. Number 10, Miss Summers was what number in the casting of Chrissy Snow? Was it 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? I shall repeat because that may have been a little unclear. I'm trying to watch the comments while I read the questions. Miss Summers was, in fact, what number in the casting of Chrissy Snow? That is to say, how many persons had actually been cast before her? Was she A, the first, B, the second, C, the third, or D, the fourth? And Dan says R2D2. Ooh, a lot of guesses coming in on this one. And then says C3PO. And again, I apologize for those of you who have an advantage if you're on Steve's channel, because I think some of these may have been on his as well. I actually went on IMBD, Wikipedia, and a couple of fan posts to get my questions. IMBD had some. It was a gold mine in this case. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm going to give it a couple more seconds. But you guys are definitely on top of this one. Oh, Indie Spout says no idea. Oh, that in and of itself makes today's game an amazing game if I can stump Indie Spouts. Musical 67, what are your questions always so hard, Thrash? Or is it I'm just so dumb? You are not dumb. I get the questions from whatever sources I could find. So I'm sorry if, and I, to be honest, I didn't know this one myself. Usually, I only give questions I already knew the answer myself, and I just looked them up to confirm it. But in this case, I actually learned this myself. It was actually 4. I would have said 3 because I know a lot of us know the story about how there were actually 2 pilots made for Three's Company before the ultimate one where she was cast, and we all know why she was cast. Don't be saying that there because that comes up later. But uh in the second installment, they hired one actress, fired her, and replaced her. So technically, Miss Summers was the 4th person to be cast as Chrissy Snow. And I'm going to move on now to question 9. Throughout her life, Suzanne Summers struggled with what learning disability? Was it A, short-term memory loss, B, dyslexia, C, dyspraxia, or D, dystopia? And I shall repeat. Throughout her life, Suzanne Summers struggled with what learning disability? A, short-term memory loss, B, dyslexia, C, dyspraxia, or D, dystopia? That's gonna go. Emily Miller says, "Wait, what?" All right, I will repeat the question. Musical says, happy heavenly birthday to your sweet mom. May she be resting in peace and keep a beautiful memories of her alive, my friend." That was very, very, very sweet of you. Musical, very, very sweet of you. But here, let me repeat the question. Throughout her life, Suzanne Summers struggled with what learning disability? A, short-term memory loss, B, dyslexia, C, dyspraxia, or D, dystopia? So Didi says E, hysteria. That's excellent. Emily Musical 67 says, "What is dystopia?" That's a post-apocalyptic form of literature. Yeah, I threw that in. I've actually found a lot of you folks like it when I throw in ironic or sort of tongue-in-cheek answers. So I decided to do that on occasion. Oh, Danny Skaten says being blonde. Too soon. Too soon, my man. The answer is B, dyslexia. She suffered from dyslexia, which makes her career even more amazing to me. 8. Suzanne Summers was at one point given the role on Charlie's Angels that I'm sorry to come in again. Susan Summers was at one point given a role on Charlie's Angels, but the character was ultimately given to A, Farrah Fawcett, B, Kate Jackson, C, Jacqueline Smith, or D. David Doyle? That's one of those cases of tongue in cheek answers, by the way. Shall repeat. Suzanne Summers was at one point given a role on Charlie's Angels, but that character was ultimately given to whom? A. Farrah Fawcett, B. Kate Jackson, C. Jacqueline Smith, and D. David Doyle. I'm looking to see if anybody actually said David Doyle just for yeah, Bosley, LOL. Yes. Now I gotta be honest, I never knew this, or if I did, I completely forgot it. How many of you actually knew this? I had to confess to Danny today. Well, I know something about Susan Summers, not a lot, not enough for trivia games. So I had to do some on the fly research. How many of you actually knew that? Some of you were guessing, like Indy Spouts, but yes, the answer is in fact uh, Farrah Fawcett. Oh, Cindy brought up an excellent supporting point. That Kathy Lee Gifford was almost cast in Charlie's Angels as well. I did not know that. But yeah, the correct answer is in fact A. Question 6, and then we'll get some scores. And some of you have already, I know some of you already mentioned this in the chat. What 70s exercise craze was Miss Summers a spokesperson for? Was it A, Thigh Master, B, Vitamaster, C, Jazzercise, or D, the Pet Rock Diet? I shall repeat. What exercise craze of the 1970s was Miss Summers a spokesperson for? Was it A, Thigh Master, B, Vitamaster, C, Jazzercise, or D, the Pet Rock Diet? Ew. Superplex, yuck. Wow, Steve, I'm actually surprised. Miss Girl says, A, she invent the Thigh Master? I thought it was A's. Oh, I think I blew it. I think I blew it. Okay. For some reason, I thought the Thigh Master from that. I'm going to repeat the question. What exercise craze from an unspecified decade was Miss Summers a spokesperson for? And I'll repeat the questions. A, Thigh Master, B, Vitamaster, C, Jazzercise, or D, the Pet Rock Diet. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, and he says, I think those commercials didn't start until the 1990s, actually. You're probably right. For some reason, I had it stuck in my head there. But anyway, all right, yes, You know what? Everybody give yourselves Thigh Master. So even if you got it wrong even before we realized that I had gaffed, give it to yourself. Anytime it's Thrash's fault, Thrash gives the point. Dan says my pet rock had a kidney stone. And yes, it's Thigh Master. And how about some scores? Dinskin says she didn't invent it; she just promoted it, and they say so on the ET Tonight Show. Yeah, I didn't think she invented it, but I remember she was a spokesperson for it. For some reason, I remember it as being earlier. For some, and I don't know why. Steve says, "My knees are opening and closing now." Music Girl says, "Yeah, think I that should be the song I dedicated to myself every day." And Emily says, "I got 2 right out of however many we've done. 5." Danny is 4 out of 5. Sean Ennis is here. Oh my God, Sean, when did you sneak in here? You sneaker, and he's 100%. Awesome sauce. Tracy is 4 of 5. Live and Set Editing Steve is 5 for 5. Cindy is 5 for 5. Music Girl is, thanks, Danny, for clearing that up. Ken, I got 3 right so far, so 3 of 5. Teb is 5 for 5. David is 4 for 5. Lisa is 5 for 5. Suplix is 5 for 5. I'm surprised. I'm not. I always knew deep down you were a very intelligent person. You probably just don't pay attention to my questions. Unless you want to lampoon them. Brogan says, "Hi, Sean." Indy Spout says, 4 of 5. And I know practically nothing about Suzanne Summers. Same page club. Sean says, "Sneaking like Gollum, lurk, lurk. Precious, precious." And Brogan said, "Start late 1 for 5." Oh, I'm sorry. And he said, Zip looks like maybe I had a crush on her. And Music Girl says, "I've been too busy chatting to know how many I've gotten right, but I've been doing pretty good. I will call it 4 for 5." And now for phase two. In her iconic American Graffiti appearance, she drove what type of vehicle? Was it a Trans Am, B, a Dodge Charger, C, a Jaguar, or D, a Thunderbird? I shall repeat. In her iconic American Graffiti performance, she drove around in what vehicle? A Trans Am, B, a Dodge Charger, C, a Jaguar, or D, a Thunderbird? And yeah, I was gonna say you she's actually known as the bloop bloop girl. So yeah, in many circles. So I'm not surprised a lot of you get up to wait for more answers to waft in. Okay, Ford Pinto. Were those the cars that exploded if they got hit in the rear? oh, what was the car? That I just saw. Someone brought it up, and I hadn't thought of one of those in years. Ugly, ugly, hideous car, and I dated a girl who drove one. And it doesn't matter. I'm getting off topic. What else is new, huh? What else is new? But yes. What's the word? Thunderbird. Oh, Eleanor says a gremlin, a Yugo. Now we're just naming ugly cars. Uh Ashana says, "I've paused Magnum Force at a particular pool party." Yeah, I understand what you're. Oh, and Steve says, "Griffin said he actually lived down the street from her in Santa Monica and he knew her." That is cool. I kind of figured that's why you brought him up, but very cool that you would mention that. But thank you for bringing that. That's actually very cool and synchronistic too, considering that she and Farrah Fawcett had that not rivalry, but there was uh, the part where one went to the other. Brian says, "It was great seeing everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Glad to have stopped by today." Brian, take care of yourself. Thank you. And I'll try to catch up on those posts as soon as I humanly possibly can. And Limo says, "Thanks, but I'm honestly not interested in watching it. Just not my thing." Daryl Jones says, "The infomercials featured people watching television and exercising with the Thigh Master at the same time. It was mainly advertised in the 90s by the actress Suzanne Summers." Thank you. Daryl, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. NCD says, "I had an orange Ford Pinto in high school. Kate Jackson drove one in Charlie's Angels. That is cool squared." Oh, and a lot of people saying goodbye uh, to Brian. Again, good night, Brian. Number 4. In her iconic 1980s, 1982 specifically, Navy USO show, she does a duet with what Hollywood diva? Was it A, Joyce DeWitt, B, Marie Osmond, C, Cher, or D, Anne Margaret? And I shall repeat. In her iconic 1982 Navy USO show, Miss Summers does a duet with what Hollywood diva? A, Joyce DeWitt, B, Marie Osmond, C, Cher, or D, Anne Margaret? And this is kind of dirty pool because I actually remember the show. I would have been 14, but I actually caught it. So I actually saw it myself, actually. So I'm guessing a lot of you folks are guessing. Oh, Retro Nerd Girl is here. She must be because people are saying, "Hi, Retro Nerd Girl." Hello, Retro Nerd Girl. I'm glad you could make it, by the way. Unfortunately, we're already knee deep in trivia, but so glad you could make it by. Yes, tonight's trivia is on the career of Suzanne Summers. That's I was gonna do general Halloween stuff for tonight, but with the loss of Suzanne Summers and a lot of other Hollywood celebrities this weekend, we're talking about recent losses in Hollywood. Oh, there she is. Says, hey, Daryl Johnson, Gary Carpenter, Sean Innes, Brogu, Cindy D, and Music Girl 67. And of course, hello to you too, Richard Nerd Girl. So great to see you. As always, Superplex says, Joan Crawford. Why are you saying Joan Crawford? Is she risen from the grave? Dave says Marilyn Manson. And Danny has given, a Retro Nerd Girl a link. Well, I won't keep you with suspenders. The answer was, in fact, Marie Osmond. Marie Osmond was the one she did the duet with in this show. Oh, and part two. What famous R&B legend did a guest spot on Miss Summers' 1982 Navy USO show? Was it Aretha Franklin? B. Peaches and Herbs? C. Gladys Knight and the Pips? Or D. Dionne Warwick? I shall repeat. What famous R&B legend did a guest spot on Miss Summers' 1982 Navy USO show? Was it A. Aretha Franklin, B. Peaches and Herb, C. Gladys Knight and the Pips, or D. Dionne Warwick? I'm seeing some correct answers, so I'm not sure someone else got it. Gary Evans says, I still have a crush on Cher. Hard not to. Hard not to. I see people kind of all over the place with the guessing, which leads me to believe it probably is guessing. But let's just Nergo says, hey to Tracy, Kenneth Wilkinson, and of course Danny Staten. Indy says, Jesus, Gladys Knight, maybe. I love it. Cindy says Peaches and Herb. They are groups you said women. Oh, I said legend. I specifically chose my words very carefully. I said R&B legend, which means it could be a man, woman, or a group comprised of men and women. I picked my words carefully. At least I tried to. So yes, what famous R&B legend did a guest spot on the Navy USO show? Tuckus here says, I made it, just finished making potato leek soup. Well, if it's leaking, you better clean it up. Nothing. I will keep you in suspenders. The answer was C, Gladys Knight and the Pips. Question 2. What game show did Miss Summers not appear on? Was it A, the Newlywed Game, B, the Anniversary Game, C, Match Game, or D, Title Tales? I shall repeat. What game show did Miss Summers not appear on? A, the Newlywed Game, B, the Anniversary Game, C, Match Game, or D, Title Tales? I'm sorry. I had my wife didn't finish her dinner, and I finished it for her, and she put a lot of pepper on her food, and I have a minor pepper allergy, so I think I'm starting to have a reaction to the pepper. If I go into anaphylaxis, somebody called 911. The trick will be just getting them to get here. I'm kidding. It's very mild. A lot of you got it. A lot of you sadly did not, but a lot of you got it. The answer is in fact A, the Newlywed Game. She actually featured on the Anniversary Game, which I gotta tell you, I don't remember, but I do remember her from Match Game, and not Tattletale so much, but I love Match Game. Anyway, the number one question, I had to throw this one in. I'm sorry I had to throw this one in. The number one question is, story has it, Miss Summers once hit her drunken, abusive father over the head with what object? Was it A, a baseball bat, B, a whiskey bottle, C, a tennis racket, or D, her purse? I shall repeat. Story has it Miss Summers once hit her drunken, abusive father over the head with what object? A baseball bat, B, a whiskey bottle, C, a tennis racket, or D, her purse? I'm sorry, I had to throw that one in. And a lot of you got it, which is good. A lot of you got it, but yes. Dan, naughty, naughty, no biscotti. Uh, Mr. Staten says, I'm saying a bottle. Good guess, but wrong. Daryl says a thigh master. That would hurt. You know what you could do? You could like spring it closed and then release it, so that the force of the release of the thigh master would snap the guy's neck. Indy Spell says total guess. Whiskey bottle. No, and again, I did not know this. I was just no, I knew that her father was drunken and abusive. That's why there's that, and I found it on YouTube. There's a famous Lifesavers commercial. She's doing a commercial for Cherry Lifesavers where her dad comes out and they're walking through this very beautiful pastoral park, and she talked about how growing up she had such a wonderful relationship with her dad, and it was years after that it came out that I guess he developed a acute alcoholism and became abusive. And the story has it one day he was like so horrible to her, she took a tennis racket and knocked him upside the head with it. He actually got a concussion, and they didn't speak for 2 years after that. I believe not until either her first marriage, or the birth of her child, Bruce. But that is they say that. Keithy says, "When is Christian? What her first name? Really Christmas on the show? I believe it was Christmas was her name." Tug says, "Stop leaving us in suspenders. Pause for dramatic effect." Dan says, "Thrash, did you know she had twins? She carried them wherever she went." That's too naughty, naughty, no, Scotty. Music Girl 67 says to Steve, "Thanks, my friend. I try to have some humor every now and then, don't we all?" And Cindy D says, "Yes, Christmas Snow was her actual name." Ah, thank you. Oh, Zuplex says 7 for 10. Yes, you guys want to give scores? Uh, Steve says, "No love, get it?" Yes, I did. That was my earlier joke where in tennis, love means nothing. A very good catch and reuse of a joke that didn't go anywhere when I told it. So thank you, Steve. Tug says, "Woohoo! I got 100%, 1 out of 1. That counts. That counts." Gary Carpenter is 8 of 10. Tracy is 5 for 10. D Spot says, "Holy crap! I made 8 complete guesses and pulled out 8 of 10. Only you, Indy. Only you." Music Girl 67 says, "Shucks, I missed the last 4 in a row." Apparently, they got tougher as I went. I'm very sorry, but thank you for participating. Sean is 6 for 10. Absolutely died in the second half. Sorry. David got 6 out of 10. Steve got 8 out of 10. Dan, the breaking news man, said, "Okay, I loved her. No harm meant. None." Dan, it's cool. It's cool. No harm and certainly no foul. Gary Garber says, "Didn't she do a commercial with her dad?" Yeah, the Cherry Lifesavers one. Yeah, and it wasn't about 2 years later. The tumultuous relationship she had with her father. Milko says so, 5 out of 10. Keith says it's just nice to be able to play the game. At least that's what Dave says. Indeed, indeed, and thank you, Keith, for that sentiment. And Emily says, "I think I have grand total of 3." Cindy says 8 out of 10. I missed the question B because you didn't say groups. Give it to yourself anyway. I give it to you, Cindy. If my question, because I tried to write them in a bombastic, proliferating kind of way, and sometimes they get confusing. If you didn't realize that it could be groups, give yourself the point. More than understand, or give yourself half credit. But that's why I said legend. But no, you know what? If it threw you off your game, that happened to me once with Dave. Actually, I got an answer wrong because I misinterpreted the question, and he gave it to me. Brogu says 4 to 10. It's rather late. Terrell's Eugene Belger says 9 out of 10. Missed the last question. Lisa Fields says 8. Dave says she was a great actress. That too bad. Emily Zerblick says, "So when are we going to have the Piper Laurie quiz?" I know a couple of cool fun facts for Piper Laurie, and I almost made this about all the stars, but I didn't want to muddle the mix. And Dan very specifically asked me to do Susan Summers trivia, and I can't deny Danny Staten a request. He's been such a huge friend of the channel. But if you have any fun facts about Piper Laurie, please read them into the record now. Musical 67 says, "You're fine, Thrash. It's always fun to participate, and I think this has been one of my better results." Excellent. Cindy says, "It confirmed me. It confused me, Thrash." Yes, more than understand. Like I said, sometimes if I've made the question out in a confusing manner, feel free to give yourself the point. Because again, if I had written it in more plain manner, you may have gotten it right. So I leave it up to you, Cindy. It's a game. It's not a contest, so you can't cheat. Vote your conscience. And again, I know music is one of your strongest strengths. Dan says, Emily Miller, did we chat on a Disney chat channel yesterday? Andy Spout says, Zublik's timely for Carrie questions too. I know, right? I know. Zublik says Piper Laurie, the only actress to screw Ronald Reagan and Mel Gibson at the same time. Look to be a fly on the wall for that one. Dan says the Thorn Birds, Piper Laurie. Yes, she was in the Thorn Birds. Oh my god, I own that. I own that. It's in my collection somewhere. I love the Thorn Birds. Zublik says she probably learned to. Oh, she probably leaned to the right between Reagan and Mel Gibson. I think she more than leaned. Danny says, I don't make requests, I make suggestions. You suggested it, and that was an excellent suggestion, and I took you up on it. Very good point, Ed. Thank you for your suggestion. Doug says, at the same time, Zuper. Yeah, great minds think alike. Music Girl 67's Piper was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Carrie. She should have won, in my humble opinion. She stole that movie. Problem is, she played such a horrible character, it was hard to empathize with her. But she was the best actress in the entire movie, definitely. Oh, Broken says I'm always confused, so I give myself 100. And Gary Carpenter says, Z, what are you talking about? And Teb says, I've just posted my tribute to Suzanne Summers over on my social media platforms. Give me a link in Facebook, Pretty Please Sugar on top. Sean Innes says, The Hustler, Carrie, Twin Peaks, all starring Piper Laurie. She had already left Hollywood when they had her come back for The Hustler. I forget why. She didn't want to do film anymore. She wanted to do stage work, and they brought her back for The Hustler. And then for some reason after that, they didn't want to use her anymore. But she was a beautiful woman when she was younger. Emma Miller says, "Not than I'm aware of." Dan. Keithy says, "Oh, girl, it's your birthday month. You get everything right." Oh, that's sweet. Zublik says she probably wished. Tug says Thrash, I had the same instant joke. We certainly did. Oh, Malisa Foster is back. Hello, I know I mispronounced your name. Lisa Foster. Hi, Thrash Pondo and everyone. Sorry I'm late. Malisa, no, you're right on time. You missed a trivia game because I did a little early today, but it's always great to see you. Thank you for joining us. David says, did any horror movies got an Oscar? One. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but yes, there have been, I think one, maybe two horror movies that got Oscars, and none of them have been sci-fi. Sci-fi has never got an Oscar. Sadidi says, I don't know, Piper Laurie. I would do bad at that quiz. Well, like I said, there wasn't much for content. Albius Girl 67 says, I know the Silence of the Lambs did. That's one. Yeah. And Piper Laurie grew more beautiful the older she got. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Andy Spout says to David, in a category, or are you looking for something a little more specific? Steve says she was good with Newman. She certainly was. Musical says to Teb, if you're on Facebook, we can be friends. Yes, he is on Facebook. Daryl John says, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1931, won Best Oscar. Great catch, Daryl. I knew a old black and white film did. I just couldn't remember which one. Shana says, they're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. I love the Adam Sandler sketch when he does that. That's one of the funniest Adam Sandler bits ever. Music Girl 67 says, "Hi there, Melissa. Welcome to the chat." Zubil says, "Thankfully you missed the horrible trivia game." Ouch. Denny says, "Who in the Blue H names a little girl Piper, in my opinion, or you really ready for it? That blows, lol." Oh, that is hysterical. That is absolutely hysterical. Keith says, "Music, I am on Thrash's list of friends." He certainly is. Musical, you should check out my friends list and just send friend requests accordingly. And he says, "Sean Innes, you might say I leaned into that notion a little." Oh, Daryl John says Rosemary's Baby won Best Supporting Actress. Okay, cool. Dan says Children of a Lesser God. Children of a Lesser God? Oh, she was in Children of a Lesser God. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. And Melissa says we can rest in peace, Piper Laurie and Suzanne Summers. Yes, and Mark Gardard and Phyllis Coates. It's been a tough weekend. Daryl Johnson's The Exorcist won Best Supporting Adapted Screenplay. And Music Girl says Carrie was nominated. Ziplik says, "Did you know Piper Laurie played a Native American girl on Naked City?" I did not know that. I'm just gonna go. The Omen won Best Original Score. Cindy says, "I said that line on the Life and Sad ending live stream earlier, Sean Ennis." We're all gonna laugh at you. Tug says, "Sci-fi has won very recent Oscars. Everything, Everywhere, and Shape of Water." I apologize. I apologize. I kind of checked out with the Oscars a few years ago. But I do remember Everything Everywhere and Shape of Water winning. So I defer. I defer. Whatever happened with that lawsuit with the Shape of Water? I remember Shape of Water is being sued by the estate of the person who wrote "Let Me Hear You Whisper," which is funny because I actually went through both with a fine tooth comb. I actually found "Let Me Hear You Whisper" and rewatched it because I hadn't seen it in years, and Shape of Water. And while there are a certain number of points of similarity, frankly, I think Shape of Water works better as a reimagining sequel to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. My humble opinion. Please, thoughts below. I'm just going to skip down because I'm already getting behind again. Piper as a name. Isn't it a bird breed? I have grandniece with that. Name is Wren. Oh, does she have a friend named Stimpy? So it counts. Yes, it does. Daryl Johnson's Alien won Best Visual Effects. Music Girl 67. It wasn't Linda Blair in Ellen Bernstein nominated for The Exorcist 2 and wasn't nominated for Best Movie, methinks. I think you're right. I think you're right. Dan says, "I'm heading over to a couple Disney parks. Live channels. Have a great night and weekend." Dan, thank you for stopping by. Take care of yourself. So great to see you. Zublik says, "When a woman falls in love with a fish." When a woman loves a fish. Del Johnson says, "The Fly," 1986, won Best Makeup. But yeah, but they never get like Best Picture, which is what bothers me. A lot of people saying goodnight to Dan, and rightly so. Nice says, "Not tonight, I have a headache." Haddock. Not tonight, I have a headache. I knew where you were going with it. Tug says, "I agree with that, Thrash. Thank you. Thank you." Daryl Johnson says, "Silence of the Lambs," 1991, Best Picture. Okay, count it. Sean Innes says, "Ren's older brother is Cash, short for Cassius, not Stimpy." Heh. I'll accept that. I'll accept that. Hi, Mrs. Thrash. Oh, she's just giving me her evil grin. I was telling her how everybody wants her to like become on camera, and she's like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah." So she would just sort of like lurk in the shadows. Thank you for the link, Danny. And Tug says, "That was 1991, Daryl. Wow, my brain keeps telling me it was 80s movie. But no, you are correct." Musical 67 says, "Did Lance take off already?" Lance wasn't feeling well, so he's lying down. Last I heard, he was actually listening, but just not able to participate because he has a migraine. So let's all say hi, Lance. Hi, Lance. Oh, and of course, Tom, the hungry jerk, because I'm sure he got stuck working tonight. So, Tom, shout out to you. Everyone's hello, Mrs. Torres, says Sean Innes. Gary Carpenter says, "Misery is miserable." Ah, well played. A lot of people saying hello to Mrs. Thrash, Superplex, and Emily Miller. And Indy says, "Misery came out in 1990. The award was 91." Daryl John says, "Bram Stoker's Dracula 1992 won Best Costume Design," which is funny because it was a terrible movie. Ian Indy says, "Lance wasn't feeling well." A lot of people saying hi to Mrs. Thrash. Tux says, "Was Lance here?" Yes, Lance was here, but he had a migraine, so he had to go lay down. Daryl John says, "Get Out 2017 won Best Original Screenplay." Excellent. David says, "If it's me, horror film normally needs storyline. I classic horror ones. That is why I ask about horror movies and Oscar awards." I got it. So Luke says, "T Pons, have you heard from ENC?" I haven't. I even posted a comment on his last YouTube video. Brogan says, "Good evening, everyone. Stay frosty. Always remember, this is the way." What he said. Brogan, if you're taking off, peace. Take care of yourself. Thank you for stopping by. And Gary says, yes, he's got a headache in regards to Tom. Lance, rather. I'm sorry, Lance. Tom is just working. Tuck says, "Misery is one of my favorites. Don't make me hobble you." And Keith E says, "Happy birthday, bro. Girl, so end your birthday weekend." A lot of people say goodbye to Brogu. And he says, "Every time I see Gary Oldman in Bram's Dracula, he reminds me of Mom from Futurama." Yeah. I never put the two together, but yeah, I can see that. Steve says, "Winners never quit and quitters never win." Okay. Melissa says, "Hope that Lance feels better soon." We all do. We were all pulling for him. And Melissa says, "Tom might have a headache. We don't know." No, he could be working with a headache or have called off sick because he has a headache and has not been here. Music Girl says, "To Zuper, we hit 85 today in Long Beach. How about you?" Daryl John says, "Beetlejuice best makeup." Good point. Good point. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, "Misery came out in 90, not 91. David says, "Anyways, have a great night." Oh, what you mean is here? Says, "Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late." What you mean? No problem. Very, very, very glad you could make it. And Danny, please give a link to What You Mean. Love, love, love his comedy shorts. He's putting on some very, very funny, both dark and light humor. A lot of people saying hello to What You Mean. Oh, Indy. I just remember there was something I had to tell you. Speaking of Piper Laurie, and I'm sure you already know this, but you remember how, I don't know, a few weeks ago, we were talking about the 1985 incarnation of Twilight Zone? And speaking of Carrie, the collaboration that Harlan Ellison did with Stephen King in their collaboration of Grandma, which is possibly the scariest television ever made. Piper Laurie is the voice of Grandma. You probably knew that. Maybe the rest of you did too. But I stumbled upon that fact when I was doing some research today and feel compelled to share with you. Teb says, "Thrash, I have tried to send you links, but you ignored my Teb says, "Thrash, I've tried to send you the links, but you ignored my comments." Really? I've seen in. Are you talking about in Facebook? I've seen the things that like you said one today about Suzanne Summers and someone else. I always go to them and I share them. And is there something Ted? If there's something I'm missing, please let me know because trust me, I never ignore anything that you send me. Oh, there was, I must confess, there was a game you invited me to play a game, and that I haven't done just because I never have time to play the game. But if there have been other links you've sent me, um, let me know. I must confess, sometimes I skip the direct messages because I've there was one time I got a domestic message. There was one time I got a direct message from somebody, and it made absolutely no sense to me. And when I talked to them later, I found out that their that their account had been hacked, and it was somebody trying to hack mine while they were at it. So I may have missed one or two direct messages, but uh, do me a favor, try to send it again. Are you talking about on Facebook? You're not talking about links here, are you? Because I think to do a link here, I think you have to be a mod. Danny, help me out on this one. But in any event, I'm just skip down here. A lot of people talking to once. Another Emily says they're calling for snow flurries in North Carolina mountains. Crazy. Glad I don't live there. And then she goes on to say, Liz gotta have that money first. Musical says there's an extra charge for coming in late. Welcome, my friend. And he says, I'll be back. I have to go break my neighbor's car stereo. Have fun. Be careful. Be safe. Don't get yourself in any more trouble. Gerald Jones says, Aliens, best visual effects, best sound editing. Excellent. Emma Miller says, have fun, Danny. Um, Wajamin says, LOL. What's the charge? Hello, music girl. Tib says, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and uh, Spoutable, Spotify, Spoutable. I'm only on Facebook. So if you try to send me, oh, that's it. Yeah, I don't have Twitter or the Spoutable. I assume you mean Spotify. I don't have those. So if you send me links to those, not much I can do with them. But no, I'm not ignoring them. Trust me on this one, brother. And I'm sorry if that's how you were interpreting it. But I will definitely keep checking your stuff out on Facebook. And Tug says, "Can you break my neighbors too?" Danny, thank you in advance. Tracy says, "No snow here." Music Girl says to Melissa, sounds terrible. Hope you're feeling a little better today, sweetie. Danny says, wow, I'm back. That didn't take long. I remember once years ago, my granddaughter was like still a baby, and she was sick. I can't remember. Just a little temp, a little cold, but she wasn't sleeping well because she didn't feel good. Just got her to sleep, and we were living in a housing complex at the time. And little secret, everyone had one assigned parking space, and they were very territorial on it. Sometimes your space wasn't near where you lived, so people would park in your space because it was closer to their door. It's my spot. Get out of it, because if you're parked in my space, I have no place to park when I get home from working on an 11-hour day. Anyway, one day, this guy had come home from work, and there was someone parked in his space. And rather than try to guess who it is and maybe knock on a door or two, he just and this is like 11 o'clock at night. And I opened the door and I said in my Bob voice, shove that horn up your ass. And trying to explain himself, he says, hey, someone's parked in my spot. And I go, I got a sick baby in here. And if you wake the baby up, you're going to have two problems. He stopped honking his horn. But yeah, I hate noisy neighbors. Let's just see what else we get going on here. Oh my God, Michaels Jones in our season here says hello, Thrash. Hello, Michaels. Danny, give me a link for Michaels here, will you? I love his stuff on the remote controlled drones and other toys. Danny says, good made a wide decision, turn it down. Excellent. Doug says, my father-in-law is currently in his second home in the North Carolina mountains. Oh, that's excellent. My dad lives in Raleigh, which is in the mountains, but I'm in conversation. Melissa says, thank you, Mr. Girl. My hand is starting to feel better now, waiting for the rest of the inflammation in the other joints to clear up. Indy Spout says, I'm envious of all these people showing up after the trivia game. I'm starting to think maybe people just were avoiding my trivia game. Oh, I had a different one for tonight, by the way. It was going to be on famous Hollywood celebrities that actually got their start in horror movies. It was actually suggested to me by Lance Chafin. It's all finished. I just decided to do Susan Summers tonight. So next week is going to be big name celebrities who got their start in horror films. Gary's giving us a bunch of emojis. Uh, Music Girl asks if Melissa's taking any medication for her ailment. Wajimine says, ha ha ha, what happened when you are broke? Tug says, I'm honestly not sure. I've only been there once and it was 15 years ago. I'd have to ask the wife. Subuk says, yes, missing the trivia is great. Steve says, good night, all. Aloha on a steel guitar. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you with us tonight. Oh no. I almost pinned someone or blocked them. If I blocked you, I apologize in advance. Oh, but just jump, and I'm going to try to. What do you mean says, LOL problem. I was forgetting them, usually on purpose. Tug says, I would never avoid your trivia, Bob. Tracy saying she feels better than she did yesterday. Zerbluk says, life, I hope to see you do more uploads with all the recent passings of celebrities. I know, right? Musical says, you're fine, sweetie, just giving you a hard time. To watch, I mean. And Indy Spout says, that is a much better topic for sure. Particularly for Halloween. So, yes, I think we'll have much more fun with that one. And, John H is here. Says, hi, Thrash and all. John H, so great to see you. Tug says something, he just jumped off the page for crying out loud. Oh, before I forget, Thrash, you want to do part 2 of our movies that scare us stream next Sunday? Why don't we pencil it in? Love it. Pencil it in, and I'll get back to you. Daryl Jones says that sounds kind of final, Sean. Danny's giving them the link. John H says, I missed trivia. I just found out about Susan Summers around the time when I saw you were online. I know that was the main topic of conversation. In fact, that was the topic of trivia. Indy Spout says, I enjoyed watching the chefs making the stew. Tug says, I haven't been blocked, but when I stand up too fast, I get pixelated. And then says, Tug, are there scary movies out there? I need to find those. Danny's giving them the link. John saying, thank you to people. Michael says, Danny, thank you very much for sharing my link. I appreciate that. Melissa says, haven't seen a doctor for it, but I've taken ibuprofen for the pain and swelling. Hopefully that works for you. Yes, hopefully that works for you. Let's see. Keithy says, you might have missed trivia, but you got to write to correct without even trying. Good point. Good point. Music Girl says, anyone dressing up this year for Halloween? I haven't dressed up in years. I was Silent Bob one year. And let's see what else we got going on here. Gary Cameron says, Music Girl, yeah, no, not really. Tug says, Music Girl, my son has decided he doesn't need to dress up anymore. I'm devastated. How old is he? I stopped the last time last time I went trick or treating. I think I was 12 years old. I had just gotten back from football practice. I was in middle school at this time. I'd gotten back from football practice. It had just gotten dark. I was wearing my practice sweats, and I just grabbed a pillowcase and went around saying that I was a boxer in training. Talking about phoning in. Hey, I got some candy. Melissa says, your trivia isn't boring, just late to the party. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you very, very much. Emily hasn't decided if she's going to dress up or not. Milko says to Melissa, if it should get any worse, please see a doctor if you can. You don't want to mess with that, definitely. Sean says to Daryl Johnson, thought that too after I hit send, but I assumed it was for live and set ending. But I'm a bit lazy tonight. What do you mean? Says, he says, I'm going to be peanut bitter part of the peanut butter jelly sandwich. I assume you mean butter. Cindy says, I was Wonder Woman last year. Music Girl, we are being cat women this year as the boss hates cats. That's brilliant. Tracy says, well, I gotta get going. See you soon, guys. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. You have a great night. Keithy says, I wear my flash red shirt and call myself ironic. Doug says he's 14. Yeah, it's about the age where boys abandon it until they go to college and it starts up again. Let's just see what's going on here. A lot of people having fellowship with each other and whatnot. Johnny says, I last went trick or treating in childhood. I was when I was 13. I posed as a drunk with a real unopened beer kit. Really, really. I used my grandfather's wine bottle once. It was empty. I put something in it, like grape juice, I think. Trivia makes my brain hurt. Sorry, sorry, Danny. Uh, Music Girl says, Tug, it's so hard when the kids have decided that they're grown. Cherish the memories, buddy. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tug says, I do have a Star Trek red shirt uniform. Maybe I'll put it on just for giggles. Evan says, I usually dress as a witch. No kidding. I know. Who would have thunk? Gary Governor says, it doesn't if you know the answer. Mr. Wilkinson says, I'm a Doctor Who every year for Halloween. Oh, that's a good one. Tug says, I know, of course, Emily, but what about Halloween? Keith he says, Kenneth, at least Thrash is not calling you Keith tonight. well, I called form as content, form as comet or something like that. I was all over the place earlier. Uh, and Music Girl says to Emily, we could be the Sanderson sisters. We just need one more to join Thrash. Are you available? Sure, sure. Uh, Shannon says, Tug, better adopt a Scottish accent just to be safe. The dilithium crystals, Captain. Cindy says, I'll probably do Hello Kitty. Oh, that's cute. Gary Gabriel says, I dressed up as Dracula, Batman, Merlin, and a hobo. That'd be like one heck of a crossover. Emma says, Liz, we can run amok. Definitely, definitely. Tug says, so Troop is a girl, and Spout says to a Tug, they're going to kill guy. Music Girl says, Cindy sounds like so much fun. You'll make a fantastic Catwoman. You certainly will. You certainly will. Tug says, amok, amok, amok. Gary Gabriel says, geek, hocus pocus. Yes. Thank you for clarifying. I got it, but thank you for clarifying. Denny says, I still have my stupid Halloween costume from the 1976, the blue Star Trek uniform with little plastic pointy ears. Oh, that's cute. No, Chance is here. The Nostalgia Pod Blast says hi. Pod Blast, so glad you could make it. Danny, please give us a link to Pod Blast. Put out some great stuff. I love your podcasts. They're amazing. There's the amount of research and effort you put into them. It boggles the mind. Keith he says Hooper goes to a hippopotamus and usually wins. Oh, goes as a hippopotamus. Hooper the hippopotamus goes to hippopotamus. I know I'm with you. As a Halloween costume. Cindy, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Cindy D says, I don't have the body for it. Music girl. Melissa says I will, if not better. Music girl, go to see a doctor. And Tug says, when I was a baby, I dressed up as Riddler, Mrs. Tug as Poison Ivy, and the baby as Batmite. Oh, that's adorbs. So Luke says, so was your team any good, T-Pons? We were terrible. We were terrible. My junior year, that was the one where I got hurt and had to have the operation and died on the table. We had no wins. We were 0-10. That was when I played for them. Couple years ago, I can't remember. I think it was right before the vid kicked in. They actually won the Super Bowl. They actually won the Super Bowl that year, and they beat the state Super Bowl, and they beat our famous rivals. So they've certainly gotten better. But when I played for them, we were ew, ew, ew. Um. Oh, Pablo says thank you, and Isabel says thanks for the trivia, Bob. A little dose of humility goes a long way. Well, thank you for playing. It's praise from Caesar with you. I Gary Carpenter says to Music Girl, I think I still have my cape. Is it a Cape Cod? Tug says it was our Christmas card picture that year. Well, that's funny because one Halloween I dressed up as Santa Claus. The shtick was I was going around to make sure all the kids were good on Halloween. Evan says I dressed up as Professor McGonagall for the midnight premiere of the second movie of the seventh book. Cool. So Luke says, "So you died on the table?" Yes, I was clinically dead. I had a reaction to a medication they gave me, and I had to be resuscitated. But yes, I was actually clinically dead for a time. That's why I feel I cannot die because one only dies once, and since I already have, I cannot die again. Ooh, would it be creepy if this was like a soul survivors thing, and I'm just dead and in limbo, and you guys are all a bunch of demons? That would explain a lot. No offense to anyone. Gary Cameron says, "Pod bless. So is Phil's Coates and Piper." Oh yeah, we're talking about recent deaths, and there have been many. Rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. Yes, pod bless. We talked about that at great lengths. Azubik says, "Are we seeing a ghost?" You tell me. Doug says to Tug, "Pictures. I want to see pictures." Melissa says, "I probably won't be dressing up for Halloween since my husband and I haven't been invited to any Halloween parties." Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa. Tug says, "I'll dig it out for you, music girl." Watchman says, wait. Susan Summers passed away. Yes, earlier today, age of 76. She succumbed to her battle with breast cancer. Zubik says, "Are you sure you are still alive?" No. But Melissa says, "I will keep you posted, music girl." Gary Cameron says, "What do you mean?" So has Phyllis Coates and Piper Laurie, and of course Mark Goddard. And Tug says, "Message retracted," and a message retracted to you as well. And Emma says, "I mean, meh." Shannon says, "Thrash is a zombie. Protect your brains." I'm not a talking zombie or a brain zombie, or I'm certainly not a fast moving zombie. Gary Cameron says to 67, "I don't have any fangs." Cindy says, "You should have been in Flatliners." We'll accept that. Judge will accept that. Pablo says, "True, I already covered Mark Goddard and Phyllis Coates passing away," to Gary. Shona says, "She would have been 77 tomorrow." So that's the saddest part of this whole thing. Susan Summers, her birthday was tomorrow. That actually happened with Brian Aldiss. I don't know if you guys know this. Brian Aldiss is my favorite author of all time. His family, his son and grandchildren and others, they took him out for his this would have been 2017, I want to say. Anyway, call it like his 90 something birthday. And they took him out to dinner. They took him out the night before, which is not uncommon, particularly like if you're born on like a Sunday, but so we take you out on Saturday because it's a weekend night where people can get free. They went out. They took him out to dinner the night before his birthday, and he was found dead the next morning. So technically, they say that he died the day before his birthday. I like to think that he actually made it till past midnight. I think there's just something poetic about dying on your birthday. But I suppose there's no good time to die. Keithy says, "Who in BMK?" I think I may have missed a few things in the chat, but I'm going to press on. Gary Cameron says, "Sean, I had an uncle that passed away the day of his birthday." I think that's, again, poetic. Emily says, "Closest I came to dying was my BP bottoming out after an epidural. They just shot me up with something else that counteracted it." Sarah's here, says hi everyone. Oh my God, Sister Sarah. Sister Sarah, I'm so glad you're here. Dan, please give us a link to My Flock is Everywhere. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I missed your live chat the other night. But anyways, Sister Sarah, it's so great to see you, by the way. And I love the stuff that you've been doing lately. Shannon says, "That makes an even number, Gary Carpenter. Not sure how I would feel about it." A lot of people saying hi to My Flock is Everywhere. Emil Girl 67 says, "My grandma died on Thanksgiving." Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. Very, very sad. Daryl John says, "Be like what the F over." um, Sarah saying hi to Geek. John H says, my dad died on the day before his 89th birthday. Don Rickles died the next day on what would have been my dad's birthday. Very sad about score. And Tug says, that's very unfortunate, Music Girl. Oh, Sarah says, no worries, Brother Pawns. Thank you so much. I will make one. I promise I will make. I watch in the replays. I watch in the replays. Daryl John says, you only live twice. Ooh, you got me there. You got me there. Music Girl says, I had sepsis and needed a blood transfusion twice, if that counts. That's pretty darn close. That's pretty darn close. Gary Cameron says, John Wayne died on my grandmother's birthday. Wow. Crazy. Johnny says, Florence Henderson was born Valentine's Day and died on Thanksgiving. There's a song in there somewhere. Emily says, I'm so sorry, Liz. Friday will be 5-year anniversary of my dad's death. A year after his death, one of my granddaughters was born. Oh. Gary Garber says Dean Martin died on Christmas Day. Yes, Steve did a whole thing on Christmas Day deaths, and I'm not sure why I'm smiling about that. It's actually very sad. But a lot of celebrities actually have died on Christmas Day. Sarah says, Pawns in live soon, open panel. Everyone welcome after Pawns' epic show. Oh, please forgive me. I would love to make it. I would love to be on the show. I got to get up very, very early. I take my granddaughter to school on Mondays. But guys, please, if you guys aren't on the Eastern time zone and it's not getting really late in your area, please join Sarah for her open panel. And Dan, please give us a link. Oh, John P. Adventures is here. John, I love what you've been doing on your channel. He posts these little travel videos. Sometimes he's driving, sometimes he's walking around. He just has these like little. Oh, George Michael of Last Christmas fame died on Christmas Day. That's actually very interesting, Cindy. Thank you. But yeah, John P. Adventures has been putting out some like just great travel videos, I guess you'd call them, where she just like walks around and points out this and that. And Danny, please give us a link to a John P. Adventures while you're at it. Actually, I'm kind of looking at. Speaking of the time, Teb says I know that James Brown died on Christmas Day. He's one of them. It's getting close to 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock is usually when I have to kind of wrap things up. Like Mondays are a very long day for me. So I'm going to start saying my goodbyes to everyone now. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. It's just these get me through the week. I live to do these. You guys are great. You're so interactive. You bring up such great points. You even put up with my trivia when you don't enjoy it. What more can I say? It's like having a big Sunday dinner, only I don't have to cook. I want to thank you all for joining us. Next week, I will give my other trivia game about celebrities who got their start in horror movies. That should be a lot of fun. Again, rest in peace to all we lost this weekend. Piper Laurie, Phyllis Coates, Suzanne Summers, and Mr. Mark Goddard. You will all be very, very, very missed. And anyway, any last comments? I'm gonna scan one more time here. And again, if I've missed anybody's comments, please forgive me. You guys are so interactive, and sometimes when I watch these in replay, I'm like, oh, that was like, for example, Gary Carpenter. Your punchline to what one skeleton said to the other. I got a bone to pick with you. I'm going to use that in my dad jokes, by the way. So I did finally find it. But anywho, anyway, pretty much just everyone is like wrapping up and saying good night. And guys, North Alabama Cryptid is here. Mr. and Mrs. Knack. Thrash Pondo and everyone in chat. And hello to you as well. I don't know if you guys just got here, if you've been here and just not been commenting, but I'm glad you could make it. I'm kind of wrapping things up now. I'm glad you could make it. I appreciate however long you, in fact, were here. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. And Cindy says, I still can't see your replays, Thresh. I don't know why. Have you tried going into my playlists? Because I usually post them to my playlists. Not always right away, but soon. Check out my playlist and see which ones are available. And we'll take it that because that might be it. I may have not added them all to my playlist, but we'll see what we can do. Has anyone else had that problem? You're going to watch these in replay and you can't? Do me a favor, people. Try to watch this show later in replay and let me know if you can or not. That'll be a big help. And a lot of people just saying goodbye to everyone. Oh, Keithy says unsubscribe and then resubscribe, and that fixes a lot of things. That's not a bad idea, Keith. In fact, someone else tried that. Someone else tried that. That could work. And North Alabama Cryptid says, "Oh, thanks to Denny. Oh, did you drop the link? Good, good, good." And anywho, oh, Denny says sometimes it takes live streams longer to upload. Yeah, but she's had this problem for weeks. She's had this problem for weeks. So there's something rotten in the state of Denver. But in any event, again, I want to thank you guys for being here. Again, my plan originally was I was going to post some content today. And when I found out Miss Suzanne Summers' death, I spent the afternoon like doing some cursory research for the trivia game and whatnot. So the content that I was going to do today, I'm going to try to do tomorrow, and I have a few other things for this week. As you guys can see, I'm trying really hard to get some new content out there. These live chats are great, but apparently the algorithm needs content as well. And Danny, I have a couple questions for you about making shorts. I'll try to give you a call maybe tomorrow afternoon if you're gonna be around. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for joining. Be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.